time now, Ian, for we haven't done this to this point, but we have a nice source for the NX Rumor Roundup.
So this is kind of interesting to me.
Little game show song.
Yeah. There's a lot of rumors that have been coming about the NX, and Pat and I have kind of avoided them, but this source goes by Gino, and this person, this person in particular has been fairly accurate with certain predictions in the past. What they outline is kind of interesting, but it only sounds like half of what's to come. But it kind of details the handheld portion of this, that basically this thing is going to have a wireless HDMI adapter that plugs in flush to the back of the system, and that you would pop it out, and you would put it into any HDMI capable device, and it would stream wirelessly to the TV, kind of making use of the wireless connection between a Wii U gamepad and the Wii U. That's essentially what it's doing.
Except in reverse. Instead of the signal coming from the system to your controller, it's going from the system of the handheld to the TV.
Right. And that it would have haptic feedback, which is when your controls are going to provide actual resistance. So if you're using a joystick and you run into a wall, the joystick will actually resist where the wall will give resistance where the wall is when you're pushing the stick.
With like a motor inside.
Yeah. And I don't know to what extent that works on Steam, but the Steam controller uses haptics, so I have no doubt that rumor could potentially be true, because it's already in place in other controllers. They talk about how there's going to be a lot of social integration in it. What is curious to me is that there's no mention of the media. I've seen rumors on other sites that talk about carts. They talk about how the power is going to be similar to an Xbox One. You're not going to put games, though, that play on Xbox One and PS4 on a cartridge like you would a handheld.
No, I think the cartridge thing, I don't understand how that makes any sense.
Neither do I. Even though it's been rumored since the very beginning that the NX would be entirely physical media free, I want to give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt here and say that they're not going to make the stupid mistake that Microsoft did and talk about how things are going to be mostly digital. They didn't. I mean, Microsoft didn't say it would be all digital, but they were leaning towards that. I don't think Nintendo's going to be that stupid. So what there still needs to be, and this still ties into the original rumors of it being a handheld console hybrid, is there still needs to be some sort of set-top box that would accept some sort of media. Maybe you could transfer something to the handheld. Maybe that
buy an adapter for a disc or something.
Or simply download the game to the handheld to internal storage so that you can take it on the go. Use that HDMI converter to play it on a TV in another room, or take it to a friend's house.
I think you're not going to see physical go away because it'll piss off retailers.
Well, yes. I just don't think Nintendo...
That's the first reason. But go on.
Well, I was just going to say, after the Wii U failing in the way it did, which is a shame, lovely console, I just don't see Nintendo taking any huge risks with things like with media.
There's still underdeveloped areas, not just in the U.S., but in the world, that don't have great internet. And so you're basically screwing them over and costing yourself sales if you get rid of physical media.
Well, they go back to the military.
I was going to say military. You're going to fuck over the military. You don't want the military buying your console if they're in Afghanistan on some sort of forward operating base, or they're on some ship somewhere. It's not a good idea to get rid of physical media. There's just no real advantage in terms of our profit margin will be a little better, but you're going to have less sales overall.
I honestly see it as kind of being like how the Vita. I mean, it's failed console, but how the Vita interacts with the PS4. I kind of see that being how this is going to be packaged and bundled, because there's a lot of games that you can cross-buy for the PS4 that you can then put on your Vita and play them, and you can upload the saves to a cloud server and download them onto the console. So I think that could be similar, because as memory cards get bigger and bigger, and you're talking gigabytes and gigabytes, we could... God, the cards aren't big enough yet, but I'm still trying to think about it. You could conceivably put, not many, but you could conceivably put a AAA game on a memory card. if you were to download it from, say, a console box to the handheld device.
So the other thing we have to comment on, this is very, very important, besides it being probably as strong in terms of hardware, in terms of power as an Xbox One or PS4, is that supposedly one developer said it's the easiest one third-party dev said it's the easiest device we've ever developed for. You just take your code, compile it, and it works. So if that's...
I think that's truncated and simplified, but if that's even remotely true.
But if that's the case, that just means, yeah, whatever we develop for the PS4 and Xbox One, it's the same basic architecture here.
Mm-hmm.
So Nintendo... You finally figured it out, boys.
Hopefully.
It took you 5 generations of console, but you finally got it.
We can hope.
But that's huge, though.
And there are people who are talking about how power comparable to an Xbox One isn't good enough. Now, the PS4 is slightly more powerful than the Xbox One, and the Xbox One is... I mean, these are your current gen systems, and people are saying, well, if it releases this year... halfway through this lifespan, it's only going to get another 5. It's going to be another 5-year system because they're going to have to compete with the next generation if we get 8 years. However, I think the thing that people are forgetting is if this is truly going to act as a standalone handheld, we're talking about two things that I potentially have the power of an Xbox One. Because if you're going to be able to play the same games on the handheld that you take with you, it needs to be as powerful as the hardware that's running.
It sounds like this is almost a hybrid replacement because the 3DS sales are probably slowed down. So this is like, it's both. This is the all-in-one.
Well, yes, like I said, that's always been the rumors. That's going to be kind of be an all-in-one solution.
I'll believe it when I see it totally, but the fact of the matter is that it's not even 4 years old yet. The Wii U came out in 2012, and the other consoles are 3 years old. They came out a year later.
2.5.
They're going to be 3 and 4 later this year. So yes, if it comes out this winter, which I'll see when I believe it, I still think it'll be 2017. But there's rumors they're going to push it up to 2016 because the 3DS sales are slow to a halt, and Wii U.
I find that hard to believe, seeing as how like certain things like the Pokemon edition sold out immediately. But...
yeah, but they're not selling new consoles. That's the thing. Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking about the special edition.
Well, why do you think they're coming out with those? I guess they're not selling regular ones.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, even if it comes out later this year, you're not going to get You're not going to get a PS5 for another 3-4 years. So yeah, that gives you 3 years of the same, at least 3 years, maybe 4 of third-party games of current gen that'll be on this new system. So I think it's fine. And it's not like, let's face it, folks, PS5 and Xbox 2, whatever the hell you call it, aren't going to be that much better than what we have now. You're not going to get that much better. We are diminishing returns territory.
It's like, yes, I do see a difference now in certain games between PS3 and PS4, but it's not the mind-blowing jump.
No.
There's like two games that have truly shown me the power of like a PS4, and that is Star Wars Battlefront and Mortal Kombat X, of all things. Both those games look amazing. But even Street Fighter V, which looks pretty good, doesn't look at like anything that couldn't really have been done on the last system.
When I saw it, I was like, okay, that was cool, but it's like, if you put 4 and 5 side by side, would you be like, wow?
No, not at all. It's really just a difference of art style, not actual better graphics.
That's my point. So maybe this is Nintendo really, if it comes out earlier, it could be smart, because then they can sell this holiday season. They could say, hey guys, you like first party Nintendo games? And you know what? You know the Assassin's Creed 8 and Call of Duty 12? They're going to be on our Nintendo system too. So you want to buy 2 consoles? You can just buy our one, save money. You can save $400 and buy more games that are going to be on our system too.
And Jesus,
which me and Rue said at E3 2011, we said Nintendo's going to put out a console that's as powerful enough to get the third party. They didn't do it, which always perplexed me.
Right.
But now they're finally learning, because they're losing sales.
Right, because there's no reason for third party not to support it if it's as powerful as the only other competition.
Yes.
So it's not like there's something else.
And plus, it's cheaper.
I was going to say the other
thing, waited long enough.
Yes,
what they're doing, they're making so much more money on their consoles than the PS4 and Xbox One. It's a win-win.
That's what I was just going to say. Everyone's talking about how that's way too expensive to, for them to keep their usually low price points. But no, not really. I mean, you can get an Xbox One used for $279. This technology is becoming cheaper by the moment, and I don't actually think it's going to be that expensive. If I were to target a price point for this, I'd say if it's really going to be a handheld and a console in one, I'd say 3 to 350. But I know that Nintendo's probably ideally shooting for 250.
Well, if they could sell this at 250,
I'm gonna guess
game over. I'm gonna say 3.
I'm gonna guess Wii U territory, which is 3. Yes.
I'm gonna say 3, just because. Well, it's cheaper. If it's literally just going to be a handheld. So basically, picture your Wii U gamepad.
Right, with no console.
With no console, but a dongle that you could stream to, and they're going to have some attachment for physical media. They would have to. I'm going to see it when I believe it. That there being nothing with physical media. I will.
My main reason for actually thinking that they would have physical media is not necessarily pissing off developers, although pissing off retailers, which is a great reason. It's that Nintendo has been one of the only companies to consistently include backwards compatibility for one generation, which each of their consoles, starting with the Wii.
That's a great point, and that could be their olive branch to people that just bought their Wii U's in the past year, especially with the games just came out the past year and a half, like Mario Kart last year and a half, right? Zelda's coming out later this year.
The upcoming Star Fox.
So this could
Jesus fucking Christ!
I mean, let's just make out. So, this is their olive branch saying, guys, we know you just bought this Wii U, and you have these, or you just bought these games for it, so our new system's going to play them too. That's a perfect point. The backwards compatibility.
Because with the original DS, that's where I believe. Well, no, it started with the GBA. It started with their portables. I mean, the GBA. I mean, going back to like 99, 2000, even the Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Color did too.
Their portables started it, and then their consoles did it, starting with the Wii playing GameCube.
Yeah, it makes sense. And maybe it won't be a full. It has to be the same media, right? It has to be. They're gonna have to have an add-on. If it's not gonna be in the console itself, like a slide door thing, like a PSP, they're gonna have a disc drive. It's gonna cost them $10 to make a little add-on disc drive.
It's gonna have to.
It's gonna be a USB little $10. It'll read your Wii U games. It'll cost them nothing.
Like I said, a set-top box that's similar to the Wii U, only it's going to be much more simplified. It's simply going to exist to read the game and stream it.
So, we'll see. We'll see. They never did a 4-year system cycle before. It's usually been at least 5. We always say, right? Is it Nintendo 91, 90? Yeah, right. No, 96, 91.
Usually 5. I think.
Usually 5. So, but no, it's gonna be a killer. I want to play a GTA game on my Wii U. Excuse me, on my NX.